Transcribed and summarized.
All right. Just to recap, we called this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. And then we just we can get started with roll call. Oh. Sorry, give us 1 minute. We're having some technical difficulties. Okay, let's proceed with roll call.
All right, roll call. Cantrell, not here. Christian, absent. Chair Fong is absent. Higa, Kaapu, Kuo, McPherson, Magawai, not here yet. Mitsuda, Naoa Ota,
Present.
Nita. And see you online. Yep. Okay. Valdez.
Present.
So, Yamamoto. 9 members present. You have quorum.
Okay, thank you. And then just some housekeeping and announcements. If you wish to speak, please get the chair's attention and wait to be recognized. And you'll have a 1 minute time limit to speak. For those of us who are in person, if you can come up to the mic to speak, that way folks on Zoom are able to hear us. All right. Moving forward with the agenda, do we have the Honolulu Fire Department? Anybody from the Honolulu Fire Department? Going once, twice. All right. Oh, if they come back on, we can revisit them. Moving on. Honolulu Police Department.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, so my name is Sergeant King, and I am a sergeant who is mainly responsible for the Nu'uanu Kamehameha Heights area, all the way up to Pali. These are the incident stats as of December 2025. Aggravated assaults, we had 0 cases reported compared to 1 in November. For auto thefts, we have 4 reported in December, which was on par with November at 4 also. Burglaries, we had 8 reported in December, an uptick from 1 in November. Robberies, both were 0 for November and December. Sex assault and rapes were also 0. Simple assault, we had 4 cases reported in December versus 2 in November. For thefts, which is everything from pickpocket, purse snatching, shoplifting, thefts of any types of property, we had 13 reported in December, and that's an uptick from 6 in November. For unauthorized entry into a motor vehicle or a car break-in, we had 3 reported in December versus 2 in November. Total calls for service, December, we had 1,227 versus 1,242 cases in November. The upticks in burglaries, of course, will come with Christmas and whatnot. People are just out there looking and searching. So if they see a household come home with a lot of presents and whatnot, it's an unfortunate bad trait of some human nature. So we try to be more vigilant, but unfortunately, we only have so many officers that can be out there to assist. But yeah, those are the stats.
Okay. Thank you for your report, Sergeant King, and thank you guys for all the work you guys do. Starting with questions, anybody from the board? Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sergeant, for your report. I wanted to ask you a question about fireworks related citations or arrests in our particular community. Just wondering if you had any statistics on that. I know that Director Lambert was on the news letting us know about their drone surveillance that evening, as well as increased police presence. And we're just wondering if you saw more that night that was citable or arrestable.
I will tell you that on New Year's Eve, I was working that night. Unfortunately, our caseload on patrol kind of dictates what we can do and what we couldn't do. And unfortunately, we had more high crime, such as more threats, more assaults, that were really taxing the resources of the officers that night. I do know that there was a person that was cited for a firework violation. I did hear it. We did praise the officer because we were trying to make sure that we were trying to help the Department of Law Enforcement and the Honolulu Police Department really try and stay on top of that. But unfortunately, with the number of personnel that we had working that night, we were fully staffed, but our caseload just completely bombarded us with calls for service. We did get a multitude of fireworks calls to 911. But of course, by the time it goes through a system and then by the time it gets to us, it's already kind of done and gone. So even though officers go to check, it may be over. When I was working, I did notice that there was less than in years past. But unfortunately, there were still incidences of fireworks. Official stats, I'm not sure if our LT has those comprised. Maybe he could help with that one.
Thank you for your
Yes.
your service. Go ahead, LT.
Hi, Lieutenant Yamashita with District 5. So in your guys' area, we had a total of 23 calls for service for firework-related offenses. It appears that island-wide, I guess we had 29 citations that were issued and 2 fireworks-related arrests. But for your guys' area, we ended up getting 23 calls for service. And I thank you and the community for being brave and calling in those firework violations.
Thank you. Just one follow-up question to something that you said, Sergeant. On a night like that, when we're looking at something like New Year's Eve, do you think that having more special units or maybe like overtime or special duty would it rise to the level of having more officers that night in anticipation for next New Year's Eve? You said that you were kind of strapped with resources and your officers were kind of responding to larger, more higher calls. Would it help to have more officers?
As with anything, it was already planned for, so we did max out our rosters
I
for
see.
available
Okay.
officers on the road. So
Got
we
it.
had already brought in officers from overtime. We also had our community policing team out. We also had
Okay.
our misdemeanor follow-up detail, our crime reduction unit. So we were out in full force, but nonetheless, just the sheer number of calls
Sure.
that happen on that night, which is a busy night because everyone's having parties and whatnot, and all the fireworks and cases, and it will tax no matter where you are on the island.
Got it.
It's just a big holiday for everybody. That's why.
Well, thank you so much. I very appreciate it, and thank you all for your service. We
No
appreciate
problem.
it. a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Loy.
How's it, officers? Lieutenant and Sergeant. Two follow-ups to previous issues. One is parking violation on improved sidewalk on Nalakila Ave. This is going uphill. And thank you guys for enforcement a few months ago when this issue was raised. It gotten better for a while, but then lately, I think more and more start to park there again, maybe during the holidays or, people visiting. And they see one car parked, then next thing you know, nothing happened to them. Next guy will want to park, then, it just kind of grows. So would appreciate it. Between the more priority calls, would appreciate it if the officers swing by and see and just go ahead and try to enforce or educate.
Okay. I do remember a couple months back about that unimproved sidewalk complaint. Make sure that our officers make more of a valiant effort to kind of just stay on top of it, and whatnot. Do you know if it's more nighttime, daytime that you're seeing this?
It's pretty much throughout the whole day. But
Okay.
I do see it at night, but it's almost, I want to say, it's two particular households. So, and those households have multiple cars. When I pass by, they seem to have their own parking, but they just don't want to stack their own parking. I think they just want to test if they can just park over there. If nothing happens, then they just kind of, you know, it's just more convenience for them, I think.
Okay. I'll make sure that our officers who are on patrol, throughout, I'll send an email out to make sure that everyone's on the same page, to make sure that they check for that unimproved parking, violations in that area, Lanakila going upwards
Thank
for
you,
the
Sergeant.
unimproved parking.
And
You're
one
welcome.
point of clarification, it is an improved sidewalk, not just unimproved. It
Oh,
is an
okay.
improved pave. Yeah.
All right.
Second issue, if I'm hoping to just kind of follow up is, I know a few months ago there was a traffic fatality on North School Street near the Kokea intersection where elderly lady, actually not that much older than me, so it kind of hits home. And I know the officer there did a heroic effort and tried to revive her with the CPR, but that wasn't successful. I know that case was a hit and run. Is there anything to the extent of policy allowed to kind of maybe just update so there's some sort of closure? So we don't just forget that, you know, something like that is just another stat.
Unfortunately, as long as the case has not been settled yet, we can't divulge too much information other than what you have already heard on the news or whatnot, that it was a hit and run. We have sent out whatever information we were able to obtain has all been turned off over to the traffic investigators also. So as to what happens after that, it's all within their division. We don't really get the results of their investigations after it leaves our hands because we just initiate all the cases and then they get disseminated to the different more specific divisions such as traffic division, vehicular homicide division, or whatnot.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Okay. Member Kapu?
Yeah. Do you have any information on the shooting on Hanai Loop?
For that incident, all we had was a suspect description, fled on foot, with the typical unfortunate dark colored hoodie, and he was masked. Other than that, we didn't get any other more pertinent information that we could give out in the sense of that person because it was dark at night. And
Yeah. Was it
yeah.
random or did they know each other?
It doesn't seem like they knew each other based upon our investigation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then online member Valdez.
So I'm wondering how many police report or calls that are called in around my area, sub district 4. I want to know like around North School Street area and Liliha.
Are you talking about how many calls for service?
Yes, like for
Um,
crime, stealing, or loitering, that kind of stuff.
do you have a specific time range? Just because we would need to research that, and then we would have to put time frames and whatnot in order to get a better idea. I don't want to give you a random number because it wouldn't do you
Yeah,
good. It
that's
wouldn't
fine.
do us good.
Let's see around December and Christmas week.
Christmas week.
Yes.
And then you're just talking about the North School Street, Liliha area?
Yes.
What type of calls are you looking for, sir?
Like thefts, fireworks, anything like homeless
So fire.
destruction.
Oh, okay. So fireworks in your guys' area, we had a total of 23 calls for service. I'm not sure if that was in the Liliha area, but what other specific type of calls were you looking at?
Trouble like homeless homeless activities around that area, like digging trash, throwing trash on the street, that kind of normal behavior kind of stuff.
So like nuisance complaints.
Nuisance complaints, yes.
Okay. So the week of Christmas, you want to know how many calls for service were on Liliha in school for nuisance complaints.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Um, s- okay. Sergeant, if it's okay, we can get back to that next month possibly.
Okay,
Yeah,
I will make
okay.
sure
Yeah,
that we
that's fine.
notate it.
Yes.
All right. Because we do have to get moving along. Thank you for your question, and then Sergeant and you guys, thank you. We'll move
Thank
on.
you.
Are there any community questions before we move on, Ashley? Vern.
Vernon Nakamura, Liliha-ʻālewa Christmas Parade. I want to thank District 5 for their support and the police support for our parade. You folks are there every year, and want to just say thank you for a great job again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry about that, Lieutenant Yamashita again. So I just searched it up for the week of Christmas in the area of Liliha and Nuuano for nuisance complaints. We had a total of 54 calls. I hope that helps.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you for the quick turnaround.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other community questions? Okay. Move. No, that's still oh, sorry, Donald. Oh, then Donald, you're on mute at the moment. You can unmute yourself, please.
Okay, now you can turn. Chance, you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Donald. Go for it.
For the police, I would like to know what happened to crime mapping, because right now it's not on, and it's not on for about a month. Can you tell me, is the police department changing that and have another process? Get back to me.
I'm not sure why the community members are having a hard time accessing the crime mapping. There are times when I try to log onto it also. It has glitches or it doesn't work well. But for the most part, when I do log onto it, it does work.
Okay, because for about a month I was trying to get into it, and I didn't have I wasn't successful in getting into it, and I used that to notify the members of the community about our area, because it's a very process. So I want to know. So you're telling me it's still there, but I'm not able to get into it?
Yeah, the program is still up and running. I know there are times in the past where I had difficulty getting onto it also, but for the most part, it's still running and I'm able to access it. I noticed there's other community members in other board meetings that also have the same concern, but whenever I try to access it so far, I've been successful in being able to access it. I'm sorry that you're having that difficulty with it.
Can you tell me who we can contact in the police department who takes care of the crime mapping, so they can advise us on how to do the process?
We can try and follow up with that and with our information and technology division and see if we can get that resolved.
Okay, and can you give it to the board, and not on the next meeting, as early as possible, or to give it to Camelia Gomes, which is our neighborhood board person?
Okay, should we email it to the chair, or did you want us to email the information to Camelia Gomes?
Lieutenant, I'll tell you what, if you wouldn't mind emailing it to both Chair Fong and Camelia, that'd be great after you guys look into it, and then just follow up with us through email. Thank you.
Okay, sounds great. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donald. Thank you, Lieutenant. Any other questions before we move on to Board of Water Supply? Going once, going twice. Okay. Board of Water Supply. Anybody from Board of Water Supply? Iris? Maybe?
Okay, I'll call too.
Is she online, Camelia? No.
Okay.
Okay. Is H50 online yet? By any chance? No. No H50 either. Okay. All right. We will move along then. And if they do jump back online, we can always revisit it. All right. Residents or community concerns. Vern, come up to the mic.
Vernon Nakamura, Liliha-ʻālewa Christmas Parade. I just want to thank the board for your support for another successful parade. Also want to thank Senator Carl Rhodes, Representative Jenna Takinouchi, Chance and West Long for their contributions to the parade. Also want to thank Representative Daniel Holt for joining us, first-time participant, so please keep joining us. And last but not least, I want to thank all the participants and the people who keep coming, because without you folks, we have no parade. And Darren was supposed to give a recap, so maybe he'll give a recap next month. But, sorry, I got to run to another meeting. But thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm not going to be chair next year, but I'll probably be here again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vernon. Thank you, Vernon.
Just Chair.
Thank you, Vern. Yeah, go for it, Brandon.
Check. Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. We just wanted to thank you, Vernon, for your just so many years of service, especially with this parade. I know that it is a hard thing to do, to organize this thing, to meet the deadlines of when you have to come before the board, to get all the fundraising, to get all the proper permits and everything. And I've been to your organizational meetings and stuff, and the Lions Club has gone above and beyond to really serve the community, and you in particular. So I think, Chance, later on we should discuss it, but maybe we should do a certificate for Vernon and the Lions in appreciation from the community for a wonderful job with that parade. So thank you, Vernon. Thanks a lot.
All right. Got two community members. If you don't mind coming up to the mic and then introduce yourself and the damage. So we came here. We came here at the last meeting and we kind of discussed it. And since then, in December 14th, there was a flood and it happened again. And yeah, we're just kind of wondering if who's in charge of fixing the problem.
Unfortunately, that's the one issue that I didn't get a response back from the November meeting. So I do apologize. They did ask for one more month on there. So as of today, I don't have a response on that one.
Okay. Understood.
But we did, we did work. We got it on a map. We shared the pictures and the videos. So we did all the information out though.
Okay.
Chance, I can
Yeah,
add a little bit.
Brandon.
So we've been working with these wonderful constituents here on their issue, and Edward has stepped up, time and time again to help us. And so he's kind of coordinating all of the videos and the emails and everything, right? I even took a site visit up there with them to see it all. And, the flooding damage is a lot. And so we're just trying to understand from a city standpoint, from a state standpoint, from a golf course standpoint, how everybody can get together to help them with the issue. Because before, I think the golf course had assisted to help, but now I think it's become a little bit problematic. So we're all kind of putting our heads together to help them. But Edward's doing a great job leading the organizations to get together to help them all.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Also, there's a ditch that is kind of the issue here. So that's what he's kind of talking about here as far as the golf course and the city and county. And there's like a ditch that's plugged up, and that's why the water is backing up into our yard and causing damage. And we have more video from the 14th as well.
Thank you
Sure.
for that. Yeah, Brandon. Who's that?
Lowest,
Loy.
yeah.
Just as the information, as a board member and a member of the community, something like that, I guess, we're hoping that issue will get resolved through this forum. But I think as individual homeowners, you guys have rights. You can always file claim through the AG's office, the court counsel office. They have a claim form, and sometimes by just entering it, you're reserving your right. So you might be able to recover if your insurance can cover, doesn't cover it.
Thank you. Any other community members, residents, concerns? Here, Carol, after this gentleman comes up.
Hi, my name is Shane Sung. I'm from Cleve Valley, Neighborhood Board 16. I'm just here to invite you guys to a tour of Safe Places. It's the Cleve Valley Juvenile Assessment Center, which is a Halekipa facility. The tour is going to take place Saturday, January 24th, located at 1828 Makuhine Street, Honolulu, Hawaii. Reason why I'm inviting you guys to this site tour because it is in your neighborhood board area. And that's the only reason why I'm coming here and reaching out. I don't know if any of you know about this, besides Carol knows about this, but I've been in Kalihi Valley for I don't know how many years now, never heard about it until just recently. So if I don't know about it, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't know about it. Philip Humphrey is going to be doing a 10-minute presentation at the Kalihi Valley Neighborhood Board this Wednesday. So if you want to hear more about it before the tour next week, you're more than welcome to either Zoom in or come in person about this tour. But basically what it is if there's a child who doesn't feel safe at home, instead of just running away onto the street, where can they go? How do they escape not such a safe environment? So this is a way for them to go someplace safe and not end up on the street. We know all this stuff that's going on today with the kids. So we want to encourage, or at least I want to encourage, someplace safe for these kids to go so they're not endangered. I'm pretty sure all of you want to feel the same way. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
What time does the tour start?
It's at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay.
January 24th. This is basically, it's a house kitty corner to Kamehameha School's entrance up in ʻālewa Heights. You'll notice that when you look at the entrance, there's a diamond-shaped placard that says Safe Places. I don't know if any of you guys knew about it besides Carol. Huh? No, it's not Kapalama. It's your guys' area.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, thank you for
Okay.
the clarification. Any other questions? And then I do encourage the board, if you guys are able to attend this tour. Halekipa does have a very good program. Thank you guys for what you do for the community. Any questions? If not, Carol? Thank you, sir.
I'm just trying to see if there could be some maintenance in the Kapalama Stream Canal between Hillcrest and Kealia Drive. Right now, there are a lot of trees growing out of the canal. The last time they did it was about over a decade ago when they put in the flood area. and nobody's come back since then. So now at the bridge on Nayo Street, there's actually trees under the bridge. So I don't know that that's great for a drainage. And then the other is, I'm wondering who's responsible for the Hoftailing Street footpath maintenance between Aupuni and School Street. It's gotten really bad to the point where it's safer to walk on the other side with no footpath because it's very, very, it's broken up in so many places. So I've filled out the form for them.
Thank you, Carol. Any further community concerns? Alika, is this hand still from the HPD portion of the meeting? Or is this are you raising your hand for community concern?
I have a community concern.
All right, go for it.
So I'm Alika Valdez, so from Sub District 4. The McDonald's right across the street on Liliha and School Street. It's a complete mess, and basically overnight there's been a lot of trouble, a lot of noises, nuisance. At night when the restaurant is closed at McDonald's where the old food line stays, they usually have homeless people after hours, whether the drive-through is open or not. They be making mess, um, digging the trash. Uh, but I also, on the other hand, help out the homeless people. You know, I give them food, like water, whatever I can help them out with. And I ask them a lot of questions. You know, why they're on the street, if they're looking for help, they need some places to go, and a lot of them tell me, you know, I ask them, why do you guys stay on the street? You know, they say that, oh, it's a freedom of choice, or whatsoever. And I said, if we go to this McDonald's, what do you guys do? Like, you guys get hungry? They think that the restaurant is open, but the drive-through is open. And I told them that the dining in is not open, but the drive-through is open. But I just want to know if I could make a formal request with the city representative, and legislate like a recommendation. Like, I don't think using drive-through for fast food restaurants is, if that's possible. Because I don't want any nuisance complaints in that area. It's already been a mess, but I want to know if that could improve preventing a lot of nuisance and trash and complaints around that area.
Alika, just to clarify your question, and Edward, I think this question is for you. Alika, just to clarify, you would like to see more enforcement in and around the McDonald's drive-through on School Street to help with the nuisance concerns. Am I getting
Not
that
just
correct?
this restaurant, like any restaurant businesses that are open 24 hours, because I noticed that not just the McDonald's in this area, but all the other McDonald's are going through the same. And there's always the homeless people in the corner of the streets. Keep coming back. They be trying to get some food in the trash. They be making mess, and these guys are really hungry. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Let's let Edward respond to that.
Yes, please.
Didn't introduce myself last time. Edward Los Banos, Deputy Director, Department of Community Services, Mayor's Rep for Neighborhood Board 14. So on this matter, we did have CORE, as well as I had within my offices, Department of Community Services, worked with our team, Teamwork Hawaii, to do outreach in those areas. CORE hasn't made it there yet. Teamwork Hawaii, we've gone out there twice now. On the matter of the private property enforcement, that's the purview of the private property owner to do. It wouldn't be on the city. HPD will respond. They can do a trespass, but they're not private. They're not security guards. They're not staffed to be security guards or security guards for private property. That would have to work with the landowner. Yeah.
Yeah, the land owner has recently emailed one of our board members, including me. So I know the land owner of the parcel, Mike Ferguson. So I've been talking to him about the concern. But anyways, I just want to know if there's a way, but if that helps, thank you, Edward.
Okay, thank you, Alika. And then
Yes, you're
Edward,
very
sorry, I got
welcome.
one more question for you. What in regards to the Pu'unui concern, what exactly would be the timeline what is your guys' timeline? Was what I'm asking in regards to setting up some sort of meeting between all of the players in this. And it doesn't have to be exact. It can even be a rough estimate. I'm just curious for myself because, and the reason I'm asking is because I know with the heavy rains lately, it is a huge concern and it's quite something for these property owners to be dealing with, especially in January and December time. Yeah. But
I do apologize. We didn't get that back. I didn't know DFM usually is pretty responsive. I do have other responses from DFM. I do suspect that during that period, I think the crews that we're probably trying to get a hold of was probably working to clear areas and to address other concerns in the area. That's why I suspect they may not have responded, but I know they're usually pretty responsive. So I'm hoping to have a response for you by next month's meeting.
okay, thank you, Edward. And I know we'll see you in a little bit too, so, but thank you. All right, any other community concerns? Yeah, Lloyd.
Yeah, since we're on this subject of homeless, I'm aware that upcoming later this month, January 26th, I believe there's a point in time count. And so they're always looking for volunteers. I think you can just look up the website and help. But I'm not too familiar with the data, and I'm hoping that maybe Edward kind of familiar with it. Do they break it down by neighborhood? So will we be able to tell like Liliha, like how it compares to last year or something like that?
Maybe, Lloyd, we can save this for the city representative portion. I feel bad for having to make Edward come back and forth up to the mic.
Thank you.
No, thank you. That's a very good suggestion. That's a very good opportunity for members of the community and the board. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, if there's no other community concerns, any reports of members' attendance at other meetings?
Chair? Yes.
Yes, Member
Okay.
Cora.
So I attended the 2026 Hawaii Transportation Forum. It was on January 8th. And before I go into that, I won't make it pretty short. I just want to preface it by saying that this past year, 2025, has been terrible for the state and for Oahu with traffic fatalities. Statewide, we reached this 17-year high. And we had over 128 traffic deaths in 2025 and over 82 on Oahu. And the victims this year ranged in age from 7 to 76. Among them, and I'm reading from an article at the end of the year from the Star Advertiser by Nina Wu. It was a 30-year-old waterman in Waimanalo, a 7-year-old riding an e-bike in her Eva Beach neighborhood, and a 74-year-old emergency room doctor who died Christmas Eve at the very hospital where she saved lives in Hilo. So, there are just too many deaths, and everyone is very aware now and trying to see what we can do about it. 71% of the fatalities, according to the Department of Transportation, involve vulnerable road users. These are people, pedestrians, bicyclists, motorcyclists who are not protected by the metal of a car. 71%. And yeah, so that's what I want to preface this by. This transportation forum did not only address traffic safety, it addressed planning, some other aspects of transportation, and it was sponsored by OMPO, Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, the Department of Health, State Department of Health, and the Hawaii Public Health Institute. It's a whole day conference, a lot of interesting speakers and panels on transportation safety, how to get to zero deaths, how to design walkable and bikeable communities, funding, which is always of concern, implementing more reliable and frequent transit service, integrating transit-oriented development, housing, and land use for connected communities, and then a closing of what's coming up possibly in the legislature with some comments from legislators. And so I picked a few of the takeaway points from this, and they're kind of varied. One is that these are crashes. These are not traffic accidents. So these are traffic crashes. Then the preliminary data that the state of Hawaii has collected and the Department of Health has analyzed shows that mostly these are vulnerable road users that die. And there are many contributing factors to these crashes. Almost all are human. And the highest reason is excessive speed. There was an interesting presentation about what's really dangerous if you're a pedestrian. One of these things, and I'm bringing this up for both the drivers here and the pedestrians, and we're both, most of the time, is when you're crossing the street, you have to be careful of the left turners, especially, the lane closest to you turning left, they can see you. Sometimes people pull around because they like, oh, somebody stopped ahead of me. I'm going to get around this car. And they don't see that there's a pedestrian, which is why the car has stopped. And then they pull around and they, liable to hit you. Or if there are two lanes traveling left, that's also a design problem because the second lane in the further out lane it's really hard to see. So keep that in mind. One of the people speaking who came from University of San Diego, who's a specialist in safety, said that we should probably try to use Dillingham Boulevard as a model to build it correctly, design it correctly for pedestrians and bikers and others, and safer driving, instead of trying to build it quickly, or as it's being built, or rebuilt, that it should be designed correctly instead of having to go back later and fix it. And Renee SPL, who has come, I guess, has made a safe streets person in charge of that. She said, it's important to tell our elected officials that we appreciate their efforts for the safety. And, it's hard because the funding is not always there and it takes forever, like Bates Street, but they have been doing a lot of quick builds recently and a lot in our community and nearby in Kalihi. So please thank them because they only hear the complaints. They don't hear the thank you. So, let's see. In terms of the future, it looks like there's 10 more speed cameras that will be coming to us soon on Oahu. Ed Sniffen made the presentation, but he didn't say where, but there are 10 more. And they will try to get bills into the ledge for more funding, especially in the Nanakuli, Barrington Highway area where there's incredible traffic fatalities. So yeah, that's my presentation for the conference.
Thank you, Cora. Any other reports? If not, Cora. Oh, no, no. Oh, sorry. Yes. Any questions, Cora? Boy.
Hi. Thanks, Cora, for sharing those wonderful progresses that seems to be in the making. I had a request. I know I circulated to a few members before that. How could we request to have a center median built for that coming off H1 freeway, getting to Vineyard, approaching the Palama intersection? And if there's a center U-turn that allows people to kind of turn around, go westward, I think that would really improve traffic. And that's proven to be successful in other places, like in YLI, where underneath the H1, they have a turnaround there. And I think it's the 21st Street. And also like on King Street or Baratania, where it U-turns in approaching the university area, where there's a Torii gate.
Right.
So anybody like happen to be sitting at that intersection where I'm talking about, like on Vineyard and Palama, and if you just look at that light, there's so many turns that every signal, there's always people want to U-turn, and they're the one that's kind of holding everything up. And if they're holding that phase of the signal, if it kind of slows down the whole intersection.
I think now that I know, who's more involved with different parts of this process, I think I can connect you with somebody so that you can make your presentation to them through our Citizens Advisory Committee. I'll work on that.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity, but I think it lends more weight when the board kind of, if we all take a stand together and, advocate for it. But thank you.
Thank you. I mean, if you'd like, you could always possibly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Camelia, you can always put a resolution forth if you'd like for something like that, work on something like that, okay? All right. Any other questions in regards to the report? Brandon.
Well, thank you so much for the report. I think that, just the fact that the state is highlighting transportation and, from Director Sniffen all the way to our city representatives, they're really working hard because we're seeing the deaths out there in our community. And it's evident when you look at our neighborhood board meeting here, our agenda as well as our minutes have so many traffic, transportation related concerns on it. So we just appreciate the work you're doing and, keep bringing us this information because I think it's very valuable. And just like how Loy said, we should have something that pushes more projects forward in our community. I know that Safe Streets has done things here in our community, right? Councilmember Tata dos Altos Town was helping us with, connective streets and bicycle paths and things like that, walkability, right, in our community. And I think that it's always good to have a reminder of this information and to put more items like this on the agenda in order to keep our community safe, especially our pedestrians and our bicycle users. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Any other questions for Cora? If not, Cora, you can jump right into OMPO report.
Okay, segue right into the other.
Yes.
Okay, so there were two Citizens Advisory Committee meetings since we last met, since we didn't meet in December. And that was December 3rd and January 7th. So that was last week. Again, highlight Renee Espiau of the city's Department of Transportation Services, the Complete Streets Coordinator, did mention at the December meeting that they put priority on high pedestrian injury corridors, which includes Liliha Street, and that indeed the Nuuanu Avenue Bate Street crosswalk solution is in one of the projects on their list. So it's just a question of funding and when the other ones above them clear. But it is on the list. And also there is 900 plus miles on Oahu of missing sidewalks. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. And then from this last week's meeting, there is a draft of the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan. This is for the next 25 years, 2050. And if you go to the website for OMPO, which is listed in the agenda and also in all the meeting materials, and go in directly there, you'll see the plan, and you'll also be able to comment until January 21st if there's anything specific. There's nothing really specific in our neighborhood, but it mentions other things that, roads that we use a lot, and just general concerns for Oahu. there was a lot of input from the community, and I want to thank everyone who did respond to the survey. There was a online survey. 1,500 people did have input. And just, to give you again an overview of what the existing conditions are, 2/3 of commuters on Oahu drive alone. 14% carpool, and many of the car trips are short trips under 3 miles. So there's a lot of potential for alternative ways of transportation that, are not quite available yet, or, people aren't using. So there's a lot of potential there. Let's see. Oh, okay. So more on the traffic safety side, there was a presentation by Bruce Appleyard, the professor at San Diego State University, who also presented at the forum. And his big book is Livable Streets. And again, I'm just going to mention a few of the takeaways. They said part of the problem with the traffic fatalities is that we have bigger cars now, bigger vehicles, and that they hit people higher up. So, regular sedans and smaller cars, if they hit you, they're going to hit you in your legs if you're an adult. If it's the bigger ones, they're going to hit you in your trunk or, in your head. And if you're a kid, forget about it. So that's one of the problems. Also distraction, besides the normal distraction of, whatever, people getting distracted, doing strange things in their car, on the phone, which you're not supposed to do. There are also these big screens in the car. So that's another source of distraction that wasn't around before. And head trauma. So up to 25 miles per hour, head trauma from these these crashes are survivable. Above that, there's a steep curve there. It's not survivable, especially when you get to about 40 miles per hour. So decreasing the speeds, non-highway speeds, the street speeds in neighborhoods is very important. It really should go down a bit possibly, which they've been doing in the school areas. So it really should be 20 to 25 and, lower if possible. And that it should be a shorter distance to get across streets using medians, islands, shorter lane or narrower lanes. And then one of the things you really can do to prevent the speed is to reduce the number of lanes, also make them smaller, and kind of do some diversion, which makes people slow down. Okay, that's it.
Right. Thank you, Cora. Are there any questions for Cola's OMPO report? No questions? Okay. Moving on to presentations. We have a few presentations lined up today. The first one being the Exceptional Tree Program. Is a representative from the Exceptional Tree Program or Heather online? Hello, Heather McMillan. Yeah. When you're ready, we can come back to you. Just let us know. Okay. We're not sure if she's having some technical difficulties on her end. Moving on, though, Lanakila Pacific. Is there anybody with Lanakila Pacific presenting on Zoom tonight, or anybody from Lanakila Pacific going once? Okay, moving on. Edward. So we do have a presentation for the City Department of Transportation with the status of Bates and Uanu crosswalk. However, it is also our wonderful mayor's representative, Edward. So after the presentation with the Bates and Uanu crosswalk, if there are no questions, I think we can just head into the city reports.
Okay.
Oh,
this is mine.
Okay. Edward, you got the floor.
So
Alice,
Edward Los Banos, Deputy Director, Department of Community Services. Renee Espiao, apologize, she can't make it tonight. So she's handed it over to me, but hopefully I'll do a good job and do her work some justice here. So we were asked last month to do a update. You can go to the next slide, Amelia. To do a update specific to what the Bates crosswalk improvements are exactly going to look like. So on a planning concept, here's what a visualization looks like. It includes one lane headed Mauka, two with a left turn onto Bates. It's going to go 2 lanes up until Bates Streets, and it's going to be a left turn onto left turn lane. After that, it's going to be 1 lane Mauka, and then 2 lanes coming Mackay bound. That's better. You also have a raised median. That's the thing that's highlighted in yellow, looks like on the screen. I think my picture looks like it's green, but it's yellow on the screen. And those little red dots on there represent new parking stalls that are planned to be installed in the area. If you go to the next slide, Camelia. Here's what a view looks like from the street view. They did some modeling work on that. So as you can see, Mauka bound at Bates Street, it'll have a left turn. So Mauka bound is what the car facing us. The red taillights going down, that's Mackay bound. So cutting out Mauka bound on this one, you'll see it 1 lane after Bates Street. It's going to be a 1 lane road headed up Mauka bound on Nu'uanu Ave, and then 2 lanes continue to go down. You see the additional parking stalls that aren't there now. And you see a sidewalk expansion right where the crosswalk is. Now where those double lines turn into a single line, that's going to be a raised median area. A lot of this is traffic calming measures by reducing the number of lanes of traffic and then tightening them up a little bit. Unfortunately, in this area, we can't do the speed humps or speed table type or raised crosswalk type of things. The grade on the road is a little bit too much for that area. So the grade of the road is too much, and it's above what we would recommend some kind of speed table, speed hump, speed bump, or any of those kind of things. The cars would kind of go up airborne because of the grade. So nothing like that. We're going to narrow the lanes a little bit, put that raised median in there, and that's going to be the major solution there. This was in the complete streets. So you can go to the next slide. So this was part of the complete street study. Traffic modeling was done in 2017. Then they estimated based on traffic increases should be good through 2037 to maintain vehicular service levels of A and B. So that means a fairly good flow of traffic in both time periods when it's with a single Mauka bound lane. No significant, otherwise, with the service A and B, no significant traffic impacts are expected. The next slide, Camelia, has what for any engineers out there, what the exact plans would look like relative to what's going to be built out in the design. In the interim, on the next slide, is the quick build design that Cora mentioned that we had. Renee mentioned that she does have extra funds this year. She is trying to work to get this quick build done. And what we're going to do, instead of the actual construction with concrete, we're just going to put it on there with paint and signage. So you'll have a painted bulb out there by where the crosswalk is. It won't be an extension of a sidewalk yet. It will just be painted and colored and striped. You also have new signage in terms of crosswalks, as well as some stanchions mid-road to make sure to signalize the change in the intersection and for pedestrian safety. And then finally on there, shortly after she did her presentation, she did put her package into the city's purchasing division back in October of 2025. If you go to the next slide. But as of last week Thursday, when Renee asked me if I could do this presentation, it hadn't been posted yet for the bid for the painting work. Hopefully the contract will be executed by June 2026, so we don't lapse these funds. But once we do get that contract posted, we'll have the bid posted online for procurement on the procurement website. We'll have a better idea on what the timeline looks like on realizing that Bay Street crosswalk. That's all I had on there. Open for any questions.
Any questions for Edward in regards to the complete streets? Or in regards to
That's
the
it, Herb.
Bates and Nuuanu crosswalk? Loy.
Edward, mahalo for sharing this presentation. And I do recall the part about that going with the interim plan before putting in the permanent. So I think that's very important, just in case that there's other factors not foresawn, at least, can make adjustment. I do have one comment about that one slide that has, like, at the end, the bottom says no traffic impact expected. But I
Peter
thought
said
we're
no.
doing this so that there's improved the traffic. But if they say that no impact is expected, am I misinterpreting this?
I think it says no significant impact expected. When you go to 2 lanes down to 1, I think you will have an impacted traffic, but I think it'll be positive in the sense that it will have cars going the speed limits. I do have on my sheet to follow up on this month, terms of speeding on Nuuanu in that area. So
Okay, well, last question. I saw that the slide, the visualization, they kind of showed a tree. I don't know if new tree are intended to be planted, but I thought the sidewalk there is really narrow already. So there's no way, I don't see how they could squeeze more tree into it. And one of my pet peeve when I look at these kind of stuff is that a lot of times they put in trees, it looks nice, but it blocks the street lights. So at night, can see. So I don't know if that's a visual thing or if that's a design thing, but just ask that please reconsider and double check whether that's an intended design impact.
I'll follow up on that.
Mahalo.
Get back
Okay.
to you.
Thank you. Carol.
I think that's the big tree that's already there. They're making the sidewalk go around it so that there's you can walk around the tree and that becomes the bulb out for the crossing the thing. Oh, that's artistic. That's not putting in trees.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Carol. Cora, did you have a question?
Yes, I did.
Okay, go
Um,
for it.
Camelia, will the slide deck be available online?
Yes, I can
Well,
send it to you
because
guys.
I know Leanne would probably want to see it. Yeah, she's not here today.
It will go on the Google Drive.
Okay, so next
Yeah.
time she comes, we'll tell her how to access.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank
Very
you.
good. And so
yeah.
Oh, so it sort of a comment, Loy, about the traffic impact. For the most part, if it's not school drop off or pickup time, or rush hour, that probably won't have much impact because it flows pretty easily even with 1 lane. 'Cause I travel there almost every day. But yeah, it'll slow it down during the other periods, which we kind of want it to happen without it, being jammed up. So I don't know. The jamming up part is of concern probably.
Okay, thank you. Brandon.
Thank you, Edward, for your presentation, and thank Renee for doing an excellent job on it. I wanted to just put something forward for Renee to think about and to take a look at. But as echoing off of what she just said, during the morning time, to have everybody get out of Liliha to go down Nuuanu, there's a significant pileup of vehicles. And the reason why is because you have 1 lane that's trying to turn left, to go onto Pa'oa Road. And then you have everything happening all at once. So you have Kaunanakoa, happening. You have, the different schools down below Nuuanu happening. You have everybody trying to take the shortcut off of the Pali coming down Nuuanu too. So the morning time. And then something I noticed recently, but in the afternoon time, as we're heading back up into Nuuanu, for some reason, I don't know what it is, but the cars are just backed up all the way up, like by the graveyard, Nuuanu. They're really kind of piling up. So if you could just take a look at those 2 particular times, as you're making the improvements, just to maybe, I don't know, is there a way to like open it up during those particular times, or, you know, maybe it's a traffic light timing down below, maybe Nu'uanu to like let people by Nu'uanu School and Nu'uanu Kuakini kind of get out down that way. I'm not sure if that'll help increase the time for the turning signal for the Po'oa in the morning, maybe just to kind of clear that left lane. I don't know. She's probably thought of all these things already, but it's just an observer observing it as I'm trying to get my children to their preschools and such. I see it. And I don't know. I see a lot of drivers frustrated, like they speed around each other, they're honking their horns, you know. And so before it turns into a situation of, you know, people getting mad or maybe accidents, just if they could look at those two particular times. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon. And then Edward, I know I said you could jump right into it after your presentation. However, I was just informed that we have our other two presenters online, so let's go in order. I call upon the exceptional tree, or actually before we continue, is there any more questions? Board, community, okay. I call upon the exceptional tree program. Whenever you guys are ready to present.
Aloha nui. My name is Heather McMillan. I am the DLNR Urban and Community Forester in our Division of Forestry and Wildlife. I also serve on our mayor's Arborist Advisory Committee, and our main task is to support the Exceptional Tree Program. Thank you so much for allowing me some time on your agenda today. Some of the things I've already heard made my ears perk up, because you all clearly understand the role of trees that they play in the community. Some things I've heard about concerns regarding flooding. Trees are important for stormwater runoff. Trees are also actually important for safety. There's been a lot of research that shows that tree-lined streets slow down traffic, which can help with those vulnerable users of roadways that are on foot, on bicycle, and so forth. So anyway, thank you again for allowing me time in your agenda. I have some slides to share. And so I am not exactly sure how to do this, so bear with me. I'm working my way through this here. Let's see.
Hi, Heather.
Hi there.
Yep. On the bottom, there should be a share button. And
I see that. Right. And I have my presentation open as a PDF on my own desktop. I also emailed it to the chair, but let me see here if I can use your share button to find it. There it is. Great. All righty. So again, as I mentioned, I'm here to talk a little about our Exceptional Tree Program, which is through our Mayor's Arborist Advisory Committee. Let me go to my next slide. The Exceptional Tree Program is all about trees that are protected by the city and county ordinance to preserve and celebrate our community forest. So today I'll just talk a little bit about how this program got started, what makes an exceptional tree, what are those criteria, why are trees important, how are they managed, and to show you some maps here. So this program is just a little bit younger than me. It came into being in 1975 with the Exceptional Tree Act, which was promoted to protect designated trees from improper pruning and removal. So owners of private trees are eligible for these trees that are exceptionalized through this program for a $3,000 tax deduction for tree trimming and tree services every 3 years. And our committee approves the tree nominations and forwards them on to the city council. There are over 1,400 exceptional trees across Hawaii. One thing that's really interesting to me is that I think 60% or a little more of the exceptionalized trees are actually on military land in a lot of the military housing. A little more than 20% are on municipal or public land. So that could be city and county or state land. And then less, the rest are comprised of trees that are on private property. And trees are really important all around us because they help improve water quality and air quality. They promote climate resilience. They promote food security, our health and well-being. There are studies that show trees on outside on school campuses promote education and learning and students' retention. Trees help us with temperature. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, trees also promote community safety because they slow down traffic. One of the, really most critical things that trees provide for us is this ability to cool down the temperatures all around us. We know that shaded surfaces can be up to 45 degrees cooler. And then just like the air temperatures, the ambient temperatures around us can be up to 25% cooler when they are shaded. So we really have to think about how to be strategic in where we want that shade and promoting that shade and engineering that shade through trees, making sure that you have the right trees in the right place. And this exceptional tree program, is all about understanding the tree canopy. It's really the canopy that gives all these benefits. And exceptional trees are typically those with like a really large tree canopy. So the canopy is the part of the tree. If you were a bird flying over, that's what you would see from a bird's eye view. The leaves, the branches, the things that are blocking the ground. Here's just a glance at where we find tree canopy Pai'aina. That's the green places here. As you won't be surprised, it correlates a lot with the tops of our mountain ridges here on Oahu. You can see the Ko'olaus and the Waianaes are more forested than other areas, but we can zoom in. And if any of you would like to grab this website with that QR code that's there on the screen, you can point your cameras at it and grab that. I'm also providing this PowerPoint to your chair, so you'll have access to this later if you miss this. But just kind of zooming in, something that shouldn't be surprising is that the areas that don't have canopy are those with the highest urban heat severity. And so it just really points to like the importance of trees, big trees. Not all trees are equal, but the big trees with the big canopy really provide a lot of these important benefits to us. So the exceptional tree program is really about protecting those big trees. It takes a really long time for a small seedling to get to that stage, so we want to protect them. So what does urban tree canopy look like where you are? Here, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing, but there's a black dot kind of in the middle of this map here. That's Ma'ima'i Elementary School where this meeting is being hosted. This is looking at percent tree canopy cover in urban areas based on census tract. And where the school is located, there's only 13% tree canopy coverage. If you go right across the border, the shade of green gets a little darker and you get up to 20% tree canopy coverage there. It's a little bit more Mauka. But actually, leading urban forestry researchers have shown that to really get the benefits that trees provide, you need a minimum of 30% tree canopy coverage. So we have improvements that we can make, not only in your neighborhood, but really across Oahu. So if you know an exceptional tree or a big tree that you think would be worthy of being exceptionalized and protected, these are the things that we're looking for when we evaluate the applications, that it should have a historic or cultural value, be of a certain age, be a species that's rare, or be in a special location that is significant, should have a large size, or have, it should be a tree that has an aesthetic quality that shows that it's been taken care of, that it's a good looking tree. Trees that are endemic are also really preferred. So You can get the application from this QR code or going to the Division of Urban Forestry website with the City and County of Honolulu Department of Parks and Recreation. And those trees that are exceptionalized, this program helps to protect them because it requires, after they've achieved that status, that they be cared for in the right way, which means that the pruning must be done by a qualified arborist, which is one that the Division of Urban Forestry approves of. Anyone can use a chainsaw, not just anyone knows how to prune these large trees properly to allow them to continue to grow in a healthy way. So if a tree is exceptionalized and there's some issue with it, diseased or other problems, the removals are only allowed if it is permitted by the City and County Division of Urban Forestry that it's posing a threat to public safety. And if you have an exceptional tree on your private property and you pass on, the property after you pass away, or someone buys the property, that exceptional status continues regardless of the property owner. So it's something that protects the tree into perpetuity. So looking just here, here's a map of Oahu. All the different colored dots represent exceptional trees across the island. You can see there are some places with more trees than others. Just zooming in again, that pop-out box is showing the search result for Maʻi, where this meeting is based. There's a couple in your neck of the woods there. There's that monkey pod is at Hawaii Baptist Academy, not too far away. There are some others in Nu'uanu, but there's still a large swath of the community that has not yet had any exceptional trees nominated. And the way these are nominated by all of us, by community members. The thing is, the application has to show that the property owner is in support of the nomination. Anyone can nominate. You need not be the property owner, but the property owner has to support the nomination in order for it to really be considered. Just something to think about. That's really it. I'd be happy to answer any questions that folks. And I work for DLNR. I'm in the Urban and Community Forestry Program. We do a number of things throughout the year to support the forest all around us. We have a small grant program. We work in schools. I heard Koana Nakoa was mentioned earlier. That is a school that before I came into this position, we supported for tree planting, and we're continuing to support tree planting on school campuses, working with educators, working with nonprofits in city and county to really grow the forest all around us. So my contact information was there. Please consider me a resource if you have questions or are interested in learning more about our urban and community forestry program or about the exceptional tree program.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heather, for that very comprehensive presentation. It sounds like a wonderful program. I'm going to open up questions to the board. Does anybody have any questions? Cora.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I've been noticing over the years that people in my neighborhood are cutting down all of their trees, especially mango trees, because it's hard to keep up. The mango trees grow very quickly, lots of leaves. They can't keep up with the harvesting. And the temperature has been going up in the neighborhood too. Not only global climate change, but just lack of shade. And it's I just noticed last week another tree went down because there was new construction. Are there any incentives? These may not be exceptional trees because they're not that large, but they do provide a large canopy. Are there any incentives for homeowners? Because it is expensive to get them pruned.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. I mean, it's something we're seeing, not only in your neighborhood, but really across the state, is that in the built environment in our neighborhoods, especially as there's need for, multi-generational housing, right? You have more people, more cars, more accessory dwelling units. You got to build out into your yard. And unfortunately, trees are often the sacrifice that is made. But what people might not realize, just as you're saying, by taking the tree out, you're changing the livability of your space. And it's hard to factor that in. It doesn't pay you money up front. But if you think about trees as critical infrastructure, which they are, trees are infrastructure. Trees are not beautification in the built environment. Trees are not a nice to do if you have extra time and extra money, but they are critical, just like a fire hydrant, just like a traffic light. These are the things that we need to survive because they, like that slide showed, it keeps things, could be 20 degrees cooler if you're in the shade of a tree. Imagine what that does for your quality of life in your home. Imagine what that does for your electricity bill if you're having to use air conditioning. Imagine what that does for your mental and emotional health, or your students who are in the home trying to learn. We all noticed with COVID what happened when we had to stay inside all the time. There's studies that show if you have a view of 3 trees
Heather,
out your window of your home,
Heather?
then you have better health. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we do have to continue. Cora, does that answer your question? All right, thank you. Very good. Any other questions? Loy.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for the presentation. Two
Sure.
questions. One, is there a public viewing requirement or clause that are attached to these exceptional trees? If it's a historic property, I understand that there may be some sort of twice a year, they're supposed to open up for publics to, have reasonable access to kind of see it. I noticed on the map, some of our trees, I think our neighborhood only has 7. And out of the 7, I think 5 of them are in Mark's estate. So, you can go there for the public, the historic, but, for the other trees, just wondering, and is there a public viewing clause that attached to these exceptional trees?
There's no requirement that the tree be accessible to the public, because even if the tree is viewable from across the property boundary, there's still a benefit to the public.
Okay, thank you.
Whether it improves the view or the heat or the filtration or stormwater absorption or all those things. Yeah. So public don't have to have access.
Thank you for the response and the clarification on that. My second question, earlier you mentioned, I think in your slide says that there's a list that's being maintained for who are the qualified arborists. Can that be made public? Is that maintained by your office, or is that the same list that's with the city and county Department of Urban Forestry?
That list is only with the Department of Urban Forestry.
Okay.
It's not something that our committee maintains.
I guess in the past I have asked for it, but they never gave me a good answer. So would it be possible that maybe your office can help us advocate and, make that list available and the process to get on that list?
Well, just one clarification. We don't have an office. We're just a program of appointees by the mayor. And so that list is maintained by the Division of Urban Forestry. If you're interested in how to get on that list, you can email them, or I'd be happy to serve as an interim contact if you want to reach out to me, and I can get that conversation going.
Mahalo.
Right, thank you. Donald, I see your hand up. Donald, did you have a question? Sorry.
I think he's on mute.
We can't hear you on our end, Donald.
It looks like you're muted. I can't hear you. Oh, shucks.
You're still on mute.
Donald, you gotta come in person.
Yeah, we miss you over here. If not,
As the host of the meeting, are you able to unmute him?
I don't think we can unmute him, but we are requesting him to unmute. If anything, Donald,
Okay.
would you be able to type your question into the chat, and then Camellia might be able to correspond on your behalf. While we work on that, I would like us to move on to the next presentation, and then we can always revisit your question, Donald, or Heather might be able to answer it with you offline. But next up, we have Lanakila Pacific. Any representatives for Lanakila Pacific here?
Sure, I saw somebody type a message.
Yes. Let's see if they are still here. Anybody from Lanakila Pacific going once?
M. Gibo
M.
online.
Gibo? Here. Whenever you're ready.
To update you folks on. But I'm here to answer questions if you have any questions about our organization or our programs.
Oh, okay. Does anybody have any questions in regards to Lanakila Pacific? Loy.
Maybe just a comment. Hi, Ms. Gibo. I understand the agenda has
Yes.
sorry, what's Monica's Maja Helms was supposed to give a presentation. I'm assuming that's related to the volunteer program that she kind of help coordinate. And I know.
Yes.
Looks like she's not here today, but I did volunteer, I think a few months ago as part of the organization. I think it's really wonderful. So if you have a few comments that just elaborate on that, those volunteer opportunities, and maybe that was the intent of the agenda today.
Sure. I apologize. I'm having issues starting my screen. Hopefully you folks can hear me. So we do have multiple volunteer opportunities. Our largest program is our Meals on Wheels program. And so we are always looking for volunteers from the community to help with either packing or delivering the meals. If anyone is interested, please reach out to us. We can be reached on our website at lanakilapacific.org. We have volunteer shifts that run Tuesday through Saturday, and we deliver across the entire island. Monica could also have been trying to promote the holiday meal service because we had over 150 volunteers come through on Christmas Day to volunteer meals to seniors across the island. But we are always looking for volunteer recruitment for that. So if anybody is interested, we happy to have you. And in case people are not familiar with our organization, we are still offering our free kupuna meals. So Monday through Friday between 10:30 and 12:30, seniors over the age of 60 can come to our Lanakila cafeteria and get a free mini hot meal at no cost. We are asking people to be mindful about the parking on Bachelot Street because there are some concerns about residents because seniors have parking in front of the cafeteria, but we want to make sure that we can continue that service for as long as possible.
Can you repeat when that is your time, days and times?
Sure. The free kupuna meal is Mondays through Fridays. And they advertise it from 10:30 to 12:30, but sometimes the kitchen has the meals ready a little bit before that. But the cafeteria doors do close at 12:30 p.m.
Right on. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Yeah, Brandon.
Thank you so much for your information that you're sharing with us. I used to work for Lanakila Meals on Wheels many moons ago, and I used to also
nice.
subsequently volunteer for Lanakila. And I think that your organization, Lanakila Pacific, and especially Lanakila Meals on Wheels, provides so many important meals for our community, especially for the kupuna throughout our entire district. And so we really appreciate you. And I would encourage all of the neighborhood board members, as well as the community that are present and those listening online, to seriously consider volunteering for Lanakila Pacific. They're a great organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yes,
Brad.
thank you. And for any of you as the neighborhood board members, if you're ever interested in just about learning more about our organization, please feel free to reach out to myself or our volunteer coordinator. At any point, we'd be happy to give you a tour, introduce you more to our programs, and inform you more about what it is that we're doing for the community.
That'd be great. Would you be able to, in the chat, send our neighborhood assistant your contact information?
Sure, absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Thank you.
If not, thank you very much. And then we're going to move on to finally our mayor's representative. Welcome back, Edward.
Okay, good evening. Update for the mayor. Mayor's newsletter can be found on honolulu.gov/mayor/newsletter. Some of our highlights from December. Kurt Lager was sworn in as the first chief of ocean safety. This was selected by the Commission on Ocean Safety that was formed through the last year's charter commission vote. Also have new flood risk maps take effect on June 10th. Please check those out. Resilientoahu.com. There will be a virtual open house. You can ask questions on January 15th or an in-person one on January 21st. In the newsletter, there's a QR code with a link to more information on those open houses. Transit-oriented development or transit-oriented housing that's coming to Kapolei and Kalihi. This is going to be affordable housing. Kapolei one is off Kapolei Parkway, but the Kalihi one is the old Delight Bakery site. So that building, the demolition has started work on that building, and it's going to make way for affordable housing. Mayor did want me to stress the new HNL 311 system. We did a lot of work in the press on that in the month of December. But we did a lot to streamline that, so it's more intuitive, easier to use, get your responses easier. But one of the bigger updates that I'm hearing from my peers at the city is that it connects to a lot of their workflows now. So before things would fall through the crack, a 311 thing would go in, but since it wasn't connected to their workflow, it kind of like got disjointed. So one of the things that I'm hearing is a better response rate because it's how it's connected to their workflows and it gets more responses. The neighborhood board, I mean, there is a workflow system through that, and we've kind of connected to that, and that's kind of how I get your answers back every month. Other than that, shifting up to the updates I have on 1162 Hollow Drive, DPP did make attempts to do inspections, but at that point the gate was closed each time, and they left door hangers, business cards, nothing. Never got called or never got to be able to go on site. This is kind of a good example of 311. 311, you can upload pictures and other information. So, if you can get that picture when the gates open, the garage doors open, get those license plates and things like that, we can kind of do what it takes to verify about the 5 or more unrelated persons on there. But it's it's an example of how you could use 311, tag it to the address, have the pictures in there, and so when we're not relying on trying to get onto that property. Let's see. Next one I had was speed bumps on Nu'uanu before Bait Street. I did cover that earlier during my presentation, that the road grade is not advised to have those speed bumps or speed humps in there. Traffic study on Wiley Street and Liliha Street. I think at the last meeting, I didn't necessarily have information looking at asking for a traffic study, but what we did, and on this list here. HPD did go out on December 4, 5, and 8 during the school hours, just trying to take a look at what was going on there. Did use a speed laser gun. Didn't identify any speeding or any hazards in the area during your observation. I know this is a big issue still yet. I think there's still concern, folks trying to get to school. Maybe we'll have them try and revisit that. We did it December 4, 5, and 8. It was kind of during probably when things were slowing down, going into the holiday season and other things like that. Maybe we try again January, February, and school's in session. You might have more luck now that, especially now that UH is back in session. And we'll have more issues there. missing and damaged stanchions, those got replaced, as well as a paint and sign work order was submitted to DFMs to restrict that crosswalk on the Liliha and Wiley intersection. So all those things are moving forward along with the speed limit enforcement. But based on the agenda, we did not, the traffic, I guess our record doesn't show that a traffic study was requested. But that was my update that I received from those folks. But on the enforcement and the safety issue, we'll talk to HPD, see if we can try it again. Middle school year now. The prevent flooding at end of Pu'unui Street was the next item I had on here. And this one I kind of updated. This was, unfortunately, this is the one item I didn't get a response back from DFM on that one. And hopefully, I'll push really hard to get an answer back for the next meeting in February. Homeless near Liliha and School Street. As I mentioned, we did send one team out, a couple of teams. In fact, I think IHS was a report on my desk from IHS who was enforcing in the area as well. Or not enforcing, sorry, doing outreach in the area as well. So I know those folks were outreach too. If it's a matter of the private property security and enforcement on that, probably that would be on the property owner side. But we did make an attempt to do that, and we are working to get our crisis outreach response and engagement team pour into that area as well. And then finally, I have Nu'uanu and Kukuakini Street intersection install no rate on red signs. Actually, I didn't have that on my report, so we'll have that followed up on for February.
Before we get to questions, I did want to bring up the point in time count question that member Lloyd asked. And then I believe on ours, on our agenda, we still have the North School Street and Kokia Street. If there's any updates for that.
Yeah, I do have an update on that one. On School Street and Kokia Street, I gave the update about the rapid flashing beacon, it being kind of on budget, but in queue, probably for later on, probably fall, summer or fall of this year. But I also saw a work order go through on that one for to change out the light fixture on there, and we'll have a higher wattage, and we'll have that place lit up a bit better. So DFM is working on that, probably in the next 2 weeks or so.
Okay, thank you. And then in regards to the point in time count question, the breakdown from member Loy earlier for the point in time count.
It's not that granular. I think there's some high level trend data. The way they do the point in time count is broken up into the 5 districts that are now based on the update of the way they used to organize it was based on the districts that the state issued outreach contracts through. So there were 5 districts before. With the recontracting, there's only 2 districts now. Not sure if they're going to keep the 5 for the continuing data, just the comparability of data. Partners in Care, Laura Tina is the one that does that. So I haven't contacted her to see how she's looking to do that this year. I do have a meeting with her tomorrow. Maybe I'll ask then. I'll probably get back to you with an answer on that. But they do a heat map, if you will, on the so you can kind of zoom in. You can kind of, if you go into the Partners of Care site, click on the point in time count. You can zoom in. There is a heat map where it kind of shows the densities of homeless populations and what it might look like on this island. So that's as close as we're gonna get.
Okay, thank you, Edward. Lloyd, does that answer your question?
Oh, thank you.
I think there's one more exhibit on the point in time count that shows migration. So people that in previous years point in time count, if they move significantly farther away. I mean, if they move around the Liliha area, probably it's not probably not going to flag, but if they move from Liliha to Waianae or Waianae to Liliha, you'll see it on the point in time count in one of the exhibits in the back.
Right on. Thank you, Edward. All right, I'm opening it up to questions for the board. Brandon?
Thank you, Edward, for your report. I just wanted to thank you and your staff, the city, for putting up those metal stanchions. I know that they not get knocked down all the time, and I just saw the one in front of Stevenson Middle School. It looks like somebody had launched a rocket through it or something. It's like all frayed or whatever. So, but I really appreciate the fact that you and your departments took the time to repair those, because it's right in front of my elementary. And So many children pass by there every day. So many people are walking their dogs and riding their bicycles and everything. And I think that it really serves as a good visual reminder for people that there's a school there. I think people drive so fast, they forget, because they're cutting through, trying to get to the poly faster because of traffic. And having those stanchions there, just thank them so much for getting it done before school rush hour really start to pick up again. And then the last thing, we had talked about that traffic safety study at Wiley and Liliha. Just to reiterate, I think that the reason why the constituents are wanting it is as the cars come down speeding, right, coming in front of Ma'e, and they take a left down Liliha Street, some of the drivers as well as the pedestrians are reporting that they're just not seeing the people in the crosswalk as they're coming left. So sometimes they almost nearly hit them. I mean, we're talking like inches away. And so to have that traffic safety study done at that particular intersection with the counts and things, it'll be very informative, I think, not only for us here at the board, but also the community to see what we can do just to make that particular intersection safer, given the fact that so many children are walking from community into school and then back from the school into community again. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brandon. Carol.
Yeah, I have, I brought it up before, but the corner of Kalia and Waihe'e Street, the roadway is, the corner is breaking, the pavement is breaking apart because of the trash trucks and the handy van. And the neighbor gets 4 handy vans a day. So they make that corner because they have to come on that side of the street. And with the rain, it's pretty soon they're going to have to work on repaving the whole road because of it. So fix it before it becomes a problem. I did put it in 311, but haven't heard anything back yet. And I have another sheet.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Member Loy.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, Edward. Mahalo, all that you do. I know I'm going to be asking some questions, and it sounds like I'm kind of picking on you, but I think the gist of the neighborhood is that we're trying to solve all these city, issues that the city has the greatest impact to kind of affect. First one, I guess, the light. It's very encouraging to hear about the School Street and the Kokea intersection that the city is going to do something about the lighting. And I'd just like to add that if possible to also look into shielding these light heads, because they, it helped reduce the glare. So not only the brightness, but just reducing the glare for the pedestrian traveling through that area. I know coming up from the shopping center side, coming Diamond Head bound, you're coming uphill. So I think the light with the glaring plays a factor. So, and some of the newer light head, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought they can already control the brightness remotely. Like, everything is all interconnected or smart wired or something like that. But it's certainly encouraging to hear that the city is going to do something, to improve the traffic safety of that intersection. Second issue, I know you didn't report it, but I think the last time we were kind of talking about it, there was a piece of DCS land up in Napueo Park. And I think we're kind of asking if there was going to be any plans of use to that. And related to that, and I think the response back then was that, well, we have a lot of land, and I can't think, recall right off the bat, what we're doing and all that, or respond in detail. But I think that's part of the issue. In addition to that land up in Napueo Park, there's actually one that's closer, along the street, School Street, Kuakini area. And that serves an important function in the community. I understand that. But when they built that part, when they housed that facility, made that facility, they actually cut off a pedestrian path of the neighborhood and to a school. So it's decision like that. I think you guys in authority have a lot of say in it on deciding how to use these land and how it impacts the community. So I just want to kind of point that out, and hoping that maybe in your department's future decision on how to use these land and or dispose of it, at least kind of take that into greater consideration with us community input. The second land that I've mentioned, I like to commend the service provider on site, they finally cut off this tree. I think it's kind of like weed tree or invasive species tree. And that really improved that area because that tree historically blocked its traffic signal when it gets overgrown. And it also kind of provides a shelter for, some activities and stuff. So when they trimmed it, I think earlier, sometime last month, I was very excited. So again, stuff like that. If we're not paying attention, sometimes it just falls through the crack, but more that we can do, appreciate your department to look after it and provide care and do all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Christy?
Thank you so much, Edward, for, all that you're doing. And also, I just wanted to follow up on the ʻālewa Park, the wall, and the use of the basketball court. I know that's been brought up before, but I just wanted to follow up and see, where we are with that. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from any other board members? Nope. Okay. Thank you very much, Edward.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you. Thank you for your work and thanks for the report. All right. Next up, we have Councilmember Tyler Dos Santos Tam's office.
Hi, everybody. Peggy Mirzwa for Tyler Dos Santos Tam. A couple of things. We were just talking about Napueo Mini Park. The overgrown bamboo got removed November 21st by Department of Parks and Rec. And then another outstanding item is Judd Street. So I'm going to read the final response from Department of Design and Construction. They said that the Oahu pedestrian plan does recommend addressing the missing walkway along Judd Street between Liliha Street and Nu'uanu Avenue as a Tier 2 project. There are many obstacles, however, to implementing sidewalk improvements along the entire length of Judd Street. In central segment just east of Pio Lane, there's insufficient right-of-way to construct sidewalks on both sides of the street. And we have safety concerns about shifting the roadway Mauka to provide space for a sidewalk on the Mackay side because of the prevalence of utility poles immediately adjacent to the edge of the roadway. Additionally, there are several very large monkey pod trees and historic rock walls in this central segment that would be impacted by sidewalk improvements and likely need to be removed. Finally, there are numerous drainage channels along the full length of the roadway that would further complicate such a project. These conditions will make it challenging to meet accessibility and historic preservation requirements in the corridor, potentially making the project a poor candidate for federal aid, which is the Department of Transportation Services' current funding source for standalone walkway projects. Pending the availability of funds, the city can explore opportunities to construct walkways along the wider right-of-way segments of Judd Street as part of a future roadway and pavement rehabilitation project. And then they said, to contact Complete Streets program with any other questions. So I know that that's come up. So I just wanted to make sure that you folks know that. And I can get that shared over, Chair.
All right. Thank you, Peggy. Yes, if you can share that with the board or at least at the very least with our neighborhood assistant, that'd be great.
Will do.
Thank you for your report, though. Board members, are there any questions for the council member's office? Donald.
I have.
Yeah.
So you're telling me right now that the Judge Street sidewalk is impossible to build, correct?
They didn't say impossible, but they said highly unlikely because
Okay.
of the
My
challenges.
Okay, my next question is, when he made the presentation, he stated that he got funds for that. Now the question is, where is this funds going to now?
I'm sorry. Who said they had funds? I don't know if I was at that presentation.
Well, he wrote it in his that he acquired funds for the sidewalk. The question is, right now, the city council asked the city to tell them what funds that they didn't spend. Now I'm asking the council person, what funds and where is the funds went?
I will look into that for you and get back regarding where the funds were spent or not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Donald. Any other questions, board members, community? All right, if not, thank you very much, Peggy.
Thank
Wish the
you.
council member the best from us.
Thanks. Take care.
Likewise. All right, Senator Carl Rhodes' office. Hello, is there anybody from Senator Carl Rhodes' office?
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear
Hi,
you.
sorry. Is my camera working okay? I don't know if it's for some reason it's not connecting.
It was for a second, but we can hear you on our end.
There we go. Sorry. It was like
No,
showing
no
me that it
worries.
was connecting. Okay. Right. Hi everyone. Good evening, chair, members of the board. Senator Rhodes unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, so I'm here on his behalf. I'm Mia. I'm a legislative aide for his office. Just a few updates. So in response to numerous safety concerns that Senator received from some residents in the area, Senator wrote a letter to the Department of Transportation requesting the installation of a speed camera at the intersection of Poly Highway and Country Club Road. We're still waiting on a response from the Department of Transportation, and we will update the board when we receive the response. Another update, the Executive Office on Early Learning has a new online resource called First 5 Hawaii. This website is set up to help families across all islands identify resources and programs they may be eligible for and help streamline access to these programs. And then the final update that I have for you folks is that opening day for the start of the legislative session is going to be on Wednesday, January 21st. So if you're at the Capitol, please feel free to stop by our office for some refreshments. Our office is located on the second floor of the Capitol. It's going to be room 228.
Thank you very much, Mia. Before we get to questions, I know on our agenda it has the Senate under the senator's name. It's increased sanctions or fines for traffic violations. Does the senator did the senator mention anything about that?
I don't see anything in particular about the report, but I do know if it was relating to speeding along Poly Highway that we did also was that what it was pertaining to?
No.
Okay.
This was from maybe November, our November meeting, about traffic safety, that certain states have higher sanctions for repeat offenses for high-speed driving violations. And he said he was going to check on and whether any legislation had been submitted previously here.
Okay, this was just about pertaining to raising certain sanctions for fines for certain traffic violations.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I unfortunately don't have anything in the report about that on my end, but I can double check and I can get back.
Okay, it's something that he personally said he would check. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll double check with Senator.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mia. All right, Donald, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes. The fines that the police department gives out right now, the funds go to the general fund. Can next month Senator tells us how it happened? Sure, it was made from the police department to the general funds, and also what is the requirement to reverse the process? You can tell us at the next month's meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I got that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mia. Any further questions from the board or the community? If no other questions, thank you very much, Mia. Senator Kim's office.
Yes.
Hi, good.
Kathy from Senator Kim's office. I'm here to introduce our new session staffer. Her name is Jasmine, and she will be the one delivering the report on behalf of Senator Kim today.
Hello. Aloha. Are we hearing me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Aloha, everybody. I'm Jasmine, sent to report on behalf of Senator Kim. My report basically summarizes the newsletter that we sent out digitally to the chair, the board members, and the community members who have sent us their email addresses. Since I am a bit new to this, I'd like to ask that you please hold any questions until the end of the report due to time constraints. There have been fewer illegal firework incidents this year, likely due to legislation passed. We'd like to still remind people that you can report any illegal firework activity to the Department of Law Enforcement through the Illegal Fireworks Hotline. The phone number is 808-517-2182. You can also report online through the app Safer Watch. Please refer to the newsletter for those web links specifically if you just, yeah. There have also been plans made by the city and county to develop the areas around rail transit centers as a part of the transit-oriented development project. So for the Liliha-ʻālewa area, this would kind of be, this will be the anticipated Cooley Transit Center near the Makai end of Liliha Street between Dillingham Boulevard and Ka'aahi Street. So the specific project names are the Liliha Civic Center Master Plan and Iwilei Infrastructure Improvement Master Plan. The plans will be implemented to enhance infrastructure, walkability, and foster community development, which will include housing, civic centers and community centers, retail, public parks, and other kinds of amenities. So for more information, you can visit www.honolulu.gov/TOD. And then it seems like the other senator's office kind of already touched on the legislative session, but since this is the second year of the biennium, there won't be any festivities or guest speakers. We just wanted to give a reminder of that. However, our office will be open to visitors as well into room 218. Senator Kim has been given additional responsibility this session as the chair of the Education Committee. The Senate has also began Ways and Means budget briefings that can be watched on the Senate's YouTube channel. Briefings featuring Senator Kim will be held on January 14th from 12 to 3 p.m. for the WAM University of Hawaii briefing. And then on January 16th from 10 to 1 for charter schools, library SFA, and EOEL. And on the same day from 2 to 4 p.m. for the WAM, EDU, and DOE hearing. During the session as well, you can track bills, listen in on hearings, and submit testimony through the Hawaii Legislature's website, so www.capitol.hawaii.gov. And then as a recap on previous meetings, a lot of concerns were raised about red light and speed camera programs. We did reach out to the Hawaii Department of Transportation back in December. We will update all of you when we receive a response. So are there any questions?
Thank you, Jasmine. Are there any questions from the board? Donald?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the community? If not, thank you very much, Jasmine. Nice to meet you. All right,
Okay,
and
thank you.
then- Thank you. Representative Takenouchi's office.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year, first of all. Good to see everybody on Zoom. Also wanted to extend the same opening day invitation to everybody if you are going to be by. Again, it is the second year of the biennium, so smaller festivities, but I am in room 333. If you do happen to be by, I would love to just say hello, catch up. I'll probably have a little bit of snacks and would love to see everybody. Just some quick updates. Did just want to share a couple of things that I'll be working on in the session that I thought maybe the board might be more interested in. The first is I am going to be following up on a bill that I introduced last year that carried over to this legislative session, or sorry, from last year to this year because of the biennium. And this was to maybe get some dedicated funding for the Department of Lands and Natural Resources to specifically do contracting to cut or to deal with hazardous trees on state land that abuts residential property. It kind of stalled last year, but hoping to kind of maybe get some traction this year for that. I know there's a lot of people who live next to residential in residential areas who lives next to state forest areas, so that's what that funding would be for. Also, just wanted to flag I am working with AARP on a bill to help combat fraud, specifically as it surrounds use of cryptocurrency ATM machines. If you're not familiar, they look like regular ATM machines, but a lot of scammers are like making fraudulent calls or emails to people, especially our kupuna, and convincing them to go to their bank, take out lots of money from their accounts, take that cash to these locations where these cryptocurrency ATMs are, put them in, and then it's very hard to track or get the money back after that. So that's something I'm hoping to get some regulation around in the next session. And something that actually came up from your neighborhood board that I'm introducing a bill for is also some potential grant funding for small community groups like our neighborhood security watches or patrols. If they need help getting, just basic funding to get community spaces in state or I think the government, any government facility. I think I made it any state, county, or federal facility that is open for, use by the public. If there's a fee involved in that, just a little bit of funding to help those smaller groups do that work. Again, we're coming quickly up on opening day, so if there's any other ideas, we're a little bit more limited in the House about how many bills we can introduce. I'm almost to my limit, but please feel free to reach out to me if there's something I can do to introduce anything that's of interest to the board or the community. Happy to look into it. And any questions would also be happy to take back to look into for this month.
Thank you, Rep. Any questions from the board? Brandon.
Representative, thank you so much for the report. I just wanted to say that I think that the neighborhood security watch groups would really appreciate that level of support. I know that so many times they try to have community meetings or host functions or what have you, and they just don't have the resource to do that. So any support that can be given to these groups would be greatly appreciated. And I think, especially the small ones that only have like about 10 or 12 people, they would really, really appreciate that support. So thank you for introducing that measure, and we look forward to supporting it this legislative session. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you for the feedback. I know it's going to be a hard year for money, but I think it's going to be a smaller amount just to kind of help the small group. So hoping to get a little bit of just support to kind of establish that.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? If not, thank you, Representative Takanuchi. Moving on to Representative Holt. Anybody from Representative Holt's office? Going once, going twice. Moving on to Representative Hussey's office.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I'm sorry I had to leave the meeting in person, but I'm so kind of swamped. So I decided to just come back to my office and participate virtually. Representative Takanuchi is correct. This is going to be a challenging year budget-wise. And we do have some bills that will be introduced, which hope to address this in terms of, identifying funding sources from the ultra rich, from the very most, the most wealthy folks in our state. One bill that I have that I'm going to be introducing, it's called a wealth proceeds tax. Basically there's a federal loophole that some high net worth individuals utilize, in which they pay a very low tax on passive income that they earn from wealth assets that they own. and it's an income tax rate of only 3.8%. It's a tiny tax. You know, think about the kind of income taxes that most people pay. You know, it's 30% and up. So the good thing about this particular federal loophole is that those individuals, they file a tax return that indicates that they're going to take advantage of that loophole, which means that we can target them specifically and basically fill in that gap and make sure that they are paying a fair share of taxes. So that's one bill that I'm going to be introducing. Another bill deals with the Citizens United lawsuit, which you may recall from several years ago, provides basically unlimited amount of electoral and political spending that corporations can do under the Citizens United court decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. And there's a new kind of legal theory that is going around the country, which is that you can address the Citizens United lawsuit by changing the way that corporations are formed under state law. So actually, it's possible that under Hawaii state law, we might be able to address Citizens United, at least in terms of those of us here in Hawaii and the corporations that are formed and organized here in Hawaii. So those are just two of the bills that I'm looking at introducing. Session is going to start on the 21st, and so there's going to be kind of a rush of activity. But please feel free to reach out to my office and come visit us at room 320 at the Capitol. I'm here now if you want to come visit. Yeah, and I'm open to any questions, of course. And also one thing that I would like your feedback on, actually, I'm sorry, Chance, real quick is, I'm wondering if there's any feedback from the board on this question of the $35,000 payment that was made to some legislator. It's not clear who, and there's a question about whether the legislature itself should take affirmative action to try to investigate. And I'm curious if any of you have any feedback for me and for my colleagues about how we should proceed on that.
Oh, okay. Well, in regards to the 35,000, in the interest of time, since our neighborhood assistant did let me know that we are pressed for time, I'm going to ask if the board members, if you guys do have any comments or concerns or questions regarding the $35,000 case in regards to the legislature, if you guys can please email Representative Hussey's office. But with that being said, are there any questions on Representative Hussey's report? If there are none, Loy, go for it.
Just like to mahalo you for showing up at least in person. So to me, it means a lot. Mahalo.
Thank you, Loy. And then yes, thank you, Representative, for showing up in person. I'm sorry, I know this meeting's going on longer than our usual meetings, but I appreciate you. If there are no other questions, we're going to move on with our agenda. Thank you very much, Rep. Anybody from the governor's office, governor's representative? No? Okay, we're going to breeze through the rest of these. Congressman Ed Case's office? Yes? No? Okay, moving along. Let's approval of the minutes for our last meeting, that being Monday, November 10th, 2025, our regular meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move, Jets.
Thank you. Second? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Approved. All right, under unfinished business, we have the after action report from Member Cantrell regarding the Liliha-ʻālewa Christmas Parade. Since he's not here, we're going to defer that to the next meeting. And then community organizations, anybody from Maluhia? Anybody from St. Francis? Lanakila Multipurpose Senior Center?
Coming up in just a couple days on the 15th, the 16th, and the 23rd of January, between 8 and 8:30, Lanakila Multipurpose Senior Center is collecting clothing, books, and small household goods between 8 and 8:30. And this will be sold to raise funds. They sell it to savers, then they get proceeds from that. And it's very specific. So if you're going to bring stuff, please, please check with them, because if it goes in a box, if it's books, it goes in a box. If it's clothing, towels, blankets, and other things, it's in a white trash bag. And small household goods go in a black trash bag, or boxes with covers, and books go in boxes with covers. So they're very specific about how they want them. And then they wanted to thank all of those who most recently have been donating their time and their effort. Eagle Scouts came and did 2 big projects there. St. Louis High School came and did a service project. First Hawaiian Bank has come multiple times and done painting of the whole center. And it's just really important and very helpful when organizations help with the center's upkeep and with the projects that are bigger than can be handled. And then the new session for the winter session started today. So classes are starting up again. And they are working on, with DAGs on new facilities, what needs to happen they've had a lot of problems with the age of the building, and so it's been decided that it needs to be rebuilt. They can't just repair it. And that's it.
Thank you, Carol. Any questions for Lanakila Multipaper Senior Center? Okay. No questions. Friends of Liliha Library?
Quickly, we wanted to thank everybody for coming out to the mini book sale fundraiser on Saturday, December the 6th, from 9 to 12. It was really good to see everybody. We really appreciate it. And there are no other reports at this time. If there are any updates, I will let the board know. If there is anything further, such as a tour of the library, we're still trying to figure out when that can be done. But Senator Chen Oakland is looking into that, and then we'll get back to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. All right. Any other nonprofit organizations? If not, I know under new business, we have candidate forum for 2026. In the interest of time, and I know we have quite a bit of time until the elections do come up. So would everyone be okay with possibly postponing this till next month? Is there anybody opposed to it? Okay, very good. I'm moving to the next month's agenda. In that case, this brings us to announcements. The next regular meeting for Neighborhood Board 14 is scheduled for Monday, February 9th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Same place at My Elementary School cafeteria. And then we will be, our monthly meetings can be viewed on Olelo, channel 9849, on first Saturdays at 9 p.m. and second and fourth Thursdays at 2 p.m. With that being said, oh, sorry, Cora.
Quick announcement. I forgot to mention this at the end of my AMPO report, because a few of the members expressed interest in the status of the racetrack, new racetrack. If you tune in to channel 11 or 1011 or whatever, the PBS Hawaii Insights program, January 22nd at 7:30 p.m. They will be discussing this, and the blurb says, Honolulu's new racetrack, the city is moving ahead to build an interim racetrack in West Oahu, the first such facility in 20 years. What are the details and why did it take so long? So tune in.
All right, thank you for that announcement, Cora. Any other announcements, any questions? Donald, is your hand up for a question or announcement?
No.
Okay.
And the reason I didn't come is that I have a nasty cough and a cold.
Oh, man.
If not, I will be there.
Okay, well, do be taking care of yourself. We're thinking about you over here. But with that being said, any motion to?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Perfect. That being said, we adjourn at 8:45 p.m.
Great job, Chair Chance.